Welcome back, and yes, we're going to be talking about the Internet Computer Protocol on the road to multi-trillion-dollar fandom. I believe that Internet Computer in this cycle has not received the credit that it deserves for all of the technology and capabilities that have been released and that the Dfinity and other developers in the ecosystem have been developing for many, many years. But in today's video, what we're going to be doing is exploring how the Internet Computer can actually achieve this multi-trillion-dollar market cap, which is pretty far off from where we are today. But at the end of the day, we need to understand what the technology is capable of, where Internet Computer stands compared to the rest of the ecosystem, and also understand that everything that we know about money, the valuations, and all of that is changing. I think it changed since 2020 when the pandemic shutdown caused Congress to print literally $4 trillion just to keep everything running for a few months, which was very surprising to me that all of these companies that were making tens of billions of dollars in profit every quarter, not even year, every quarter, $40 billion in profit a year. Some of these companies had no rainy day fund. They were telling Congress, we're going to go bankrupt within 2 weeks. And do you think since then that any of these companies changed anything? The answer is, of course, they didn't, because they got the bailout. And so there's no incentive to actually do anything like that. And so everything that we know about valuations, everything that we just saw this happening with Doge, right? The Department of Government Efficiency, where they wanted to cut things and cut spending, and they did. But then Congress printed even more than they cut. And so there's no real, to me, it just looks like they know the dollar is going to continue to get devalued, going to collapse. And I think that this is just how the powers and history of the world works, right? Where one country is in power, they have the supreme currency, they have the, even back in the day, different supply chains and access to different goods and metals and gold and oil and all of that. Things are changing, right? We've seen that occurring. And so we are now in a new paradigm of valuations of companies where market capitalization may no longer even be the indicator, because this is a global currency. It's going to overtake the fiat currencies, and during currency transitions, you typically see revaluations. This happens around the world. I mean, if you go to, I think, Venezuela, some of their money is so worthless that people just throw it on the streets. Even here in the US, think about the penny. They are no longer creating the penny. Why? Well, number one, it's more expensive to make than it is what the penny's worth. But number two is, because my question was, well, what's going to happen when there's no more pennies left, or there's very few pennies? Well, probably by that time, we're going to be all digital currency anyway. And so the paradigm of where the valuations are, I don't think matters anymore. And that's where Internet Computer comes into play. And by the way, this is the Cryptoviser podcast. We talk about crypto, blockchain, and investing every single day of the year since 2018. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Give the video a free thumbs up. And if you're an Internet Computer fan or really want to learn more about the Internet Computer Protocol, make sure you guys are a member of this channel. Click subscribe, or you can click join to become a channel member. We got a ton of videos and content on Internet Computer where we really learn to explore whether this blockchain and crypto are there. And I do think that they are, but now we're hearing about a $562,000 price for Internet Computer. Can this happen? Well, let's find out. So this was posted by somebody on X, and it says the Internet Computer, launched by Dfinity in 2021 with the ambitious goal of becoming Internet 3.0, has had a tumultuous journey from a peak of $700 shortly after the launch to a current price of $531. A decline of over 99%. Internet Computer has faced significant challenges, including a flawed tokenomics model, whale concentration, and limited utility in flagship projects like Caffeine AI. Now, I'm sure this was written by artificial intelligence, but I don't necessarily agree with everything that is in here. Limited utility in flagship products like Caffeine AI. Caffeine AI literally just launched. Okay. Most people in crypto don't even know that Internet Computer can run AI live on chain. Most people don't even know what the Internet Computer is because they're focused on Sui and Solana and Dogecoin and MicroStrategy and all of these plays that are already well known. And what we're looking for is those gems, those diamonds in the rough, the cryptos that are undervalued, that have real capabilities and technologies. Because as you guys have seen over the many years that crypto has been around, even just since the last cycle, a lot of these projects have promised the world, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. And none of them accomplish even a fraction of what they say they're going to do. Some of them accomplish nothing of what they say they're going to do. And so when we look at the valuations of these coins, we have to understand that at some point these are going to go back to fundamentals, and these coins that are overvalued and have no actual utility or technology underlying, their valuations are not going to stay there. Or if they are, that means that the other coins that have actual technology and capabilities are highly undervalued. Think about Solana. In this cycle in 2024, 2025, the only thing that we've seen from Solana is meme coins, which have extracted hundreds of millions of dollars out of the crypto ecosystem. And many of you and I were not involved in any of that. We didn't get any of that. Most people in crypto were buying Solana, and now they're just hoping for another pump. But there may not be another pump because all the billionaires already sold out. They're gone. You were their exit liquidity. And so when we're talking about internet computer, we have to understand where the technology is. The first live on-chain AI capabilities. And by the way, we're going to go through in a few minutes what that actually means, because most people think that, other ecosystems have everything on chain, but really it's being processed by third-party vendors that are effectively the bandwidth for the network. They're not actually running on chain. Anyway, a radical vision has emerged, according to this article from the community, one where ICP redefines the internet as a new medium, replacing Web 2's pay-to-use model with an own-to-use paradigm, fully tokenizing services and dismantling technology capitalism. The article continues saying, in this revolutionary scenario, some believe internet computer could soar to an astonishing $562,500 per coin. By 2030, let's explore whether this is possible. Now, obviously, this number sounds ridiculous, but I remind you, we are entering this new paradigm of money and finance, okay, where everything is going to become more plentiful. So, for instance, our grandparents, people who were around when, maybe great-grandparents, who were around when the Federal Reserve was created, right? What have we seen since then? A complete devaluation of the coin, where a penny may have been able to get you a car or a home back then. Now you need hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a home or a car today. And so to us growing up, where you could, buy a soda for $1 and now it's $3, it's like, whoa, like that's a big difference. But the next generation, a $3 soda, this is the baseline. And so it's going to continue to go up. And by the time they're your age, it's going to be $6 to $10 or even more. And what we've just seen happening with Doge and the arguments between the president and Elon Musk about the spending bill and how Congress wants to keep spending more, to me, this is just an indicator. They're letting the markets know. They're letting crypto know. They're letting people who are analysts and investors know. There is no end to this. They are going to print and print and print and print and print. They're going to keep printing even when they can't print anymore. And this devalues the currency. We're going to have inflation. We're going to have higher prices. And this is where you need to position yourself appropriately. That way you can hopefully be on the right side of this. Because in 2021, the Federal Reserve, the Treasury Secretary, economists were going on the news and saying, oh no, there is no inflation. It's completely transitory. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, while they were saying that, prices were going up to extraordinary levels. We saw 9% inflation, but those numbers didn't come out for 6 months after the inflation actually took place. And so if you were waiting and you weren't doing anything to change your circumstances, you were negatively affected by that. The same thing happened in 2020 during the pandemic. People didn't have to go to work. They were getting paid to stay at home. Some people did nothing with it. They just scrolled on their phone all day and slept late and, ordered DoorDash all day. And some people said, wow, this is a great opportunity to make more money and get ahead. While everybody else is sitting at home scrolling on their phones, I'm going to sit at home and make money. That is the difference here. And so people are going to look at this and say, well, $2 trillion, this is very highly overvalued. Not if you think if Bitcoin is going to be the engine behind the new financial system. If it's the engine of the new financial system, we're going to be at $100 trillion in a relatively short period of time. And so that gives us a 500x. And so if Bitcoin can do 500x from here, you don't think that internet computer can do a 500x with the only AI capabilities in the entire blockchain ecosystem? Globally, by the way. Globally. And so the core idea of driving the vision of Internet Web 3 is simple yet transformative. Internet computer becomes the backbone of a fully decentralized internet where users own their services rather than pay for them. The own-to-use model leverages Internet Computer's service nervous system DAOs to tokenize every service from social media to SaaS to cloud computing, sports betting, governance, and even AI, redistributing Web 2 profits to token holders instead of centralized giants like Meta, Amazon, Google, extracting value from users' data through surveillance capitalism. Internet Computer empowers users to govern and profit from the services they use. And so they talk about what does own to use look like. Imagine a decentralized alternative to X or Instagram. Users stake Internet Computer Protocol to access the platform, post, vote on content moderation, and earn a share of the platform's ad revenue, $150 billion annually by 2030, tokenized and redistributed to token holders. Sports betting, they talk about the same thing, decentralized governance and AI services. This is where we're going to really zero in on. Even AI services like Grok, an AI deployed by XAI, run on chain. By the way, this is like for the future. Users can stake Internet Computer to interact with AI, with $250 billion in revenue redistributed to token holders. This vision directly challenges Web 2's profit model, replacing it with user-owned internet, where holding ICP grants access, governance, power, and profit sharing. And so redefining the digital economy, right? They talk a little bit about that, but I think the biggest place here is AI services. I think that AI is going to significantly grow, especially the infrastructure, right? The AI itself is a software, right? It's an interface that you're interacting with. But the real technology and capabilities are on the back end. How are they computing this data to come up with answers? And how is that all processed? Well, this is where caffeine AI and Internet Computer come into play. Just recently in June of 2025, Dominic and the Dfinity team basically presented to the world what caffeine AI capabilities are, which is effectively what they've been talking about for a year or so now, is the self-writing internet, where you talk to the AI, which is what you're seeing on screen. Caffeine AI writes it, goes to the cloud computes it, and then it shoots back the, whatever you were asking the AI to create, whether it was an app, a web page, an interactive tool on a web page, or whatever. But what was interesting is that Dominic said there was something that there was something else that he experienced during this demo of caffeine AI. And he said he experienced this when his laptop, the internet wasn't working, so they were trying to figure that out. And he started talking with the audience. He said he asked the audience to put up their hands for one of two options, which would be true. Basically, he wanted to level set for the demo and make sure the audience understood what they were about to see. He said he asked the audience of their understanding of the phrase on-chain and what on-chain meant for an app or service built on a blockchain. And so he gave two choices. One was true and the other was false. The first choice was, and again, defining on-chain. An app is on-chain if an app or service is said to be built on blockchain XYZ and it's said to be running on-chain. This means that XYZ is functioning as a decentralized cloud, and that's where the app and service is actually hosted and runs on-chain. Everything is on-chain. Choice two is the phrase means that the app or service is built by one of big tech, cloud services, or similar, where user experience and backend data and computation live under the full control of the developers and that cloud service without blockchain resilience and security. And it's termed on-chain because it's associated with a token on blockchain XYZ. He said more than 90% of the audience raised their hand for choice one. But of course, choice two is what the prevailing Web3 vernacular means. He said, I shouldn't have been surprised by this since past research performed by Dfinity found an even higher proportion of retail crypto investors, institutional crypto investors, journalists believe that when someone says an app or service is built on blockchain XYZ and is on chain, that it is running from XYZ, which is playing the role of the decentralized cloud. He said, but I thought the truth would have percolated more by now. This was something he was fighting 3 to 4 years ago, but this massive understanding is obviously remains fully intact. He said back in the day, he said he tried to help people understand on social media by posting the theoretical cost of storing a single phone photo on different blockchains and comparing the cost to storing a photo on the internet computer. Everyone knows what a phone photo is, so this was meant to provide a way to grok the difference. Grok the difference. Anyway, the costs on other blockchains range from the millions to tens of thousands of dollars, owing to limitations in traditional blockchain design, to fractions of a cent on the internet computer, which is why the NFT media typically lives off-chain, and why blockchain NFTs just store a link to the actual NFT. It's really important to understand because, guys, most things that are occurring on blockchain are not actually occurring on the chain. This is what we talk about all the time with Internet Computer. Internet Computer is basically a decentralized data center that can compute. Most blockchains, they just have binary options, right? Does this wallet have this much money? Yes. Okay, send the money. Did this smart contract execute? Well, the execution was if this data off-chain agrees with what the smart contract says, release the money. Just one or two, yes or no, binary options. There's no actual compute going on there. This is why no other ecosystem can actually run AI on it in blockchain because they don't have the capabilities. But Internet Computer does. Internet Computer's blockchain or network was created for compute, for file storage from a decentralized cloud service. That's what Dominic is saying here. So he said, of course, my purpose was partly to help understand what had been achieved with the Internet Computer, the level of research and development that went into creating it and deep innovation that embodies it, and why Dfinity, a not-for-profit with a defined vision, spent hundreds of millions of dollars on research and development rather than directing that money into marketing. He said his purpose wasn't just to draw attention to the Internet Computer. He also personally preferred a world grounded in reality and for the facts to be out there. This, after all, is pretty fundamental to what Web3 is. The phone photo reveals didn't go down well at all. He said he was widely attacked and derided as lying about the Internet Computer and accused of spreading disinformation about other blockchains and as being an industry downer. Eventually, he said he gave up and he took the view that people would eventually get the truth without making enemies. After all, the difference between perception and reality was so vast, he felt it surely couldn't persist, but the problem never went away. For example, he said less than a year ago, he had a difficult interview with the managing editor of crypto at a huge mainstream publication, which experience he's going to share. Right here, we're going to go over it. He said he spent the first 15 minutes explaining the Internet Computer vision, how much they've invested to reinventing blockchain so that it could function as a revolutionary new form of decentralized cloud, an end-to-end stack that hosts online apps and services that are tamper-proof, unstoppable, and while continuing to support blockchain specialties such as tokenization and autonomous logic, adding additional functionalities such as trustless multi-chain, etc., etc. The Internet Computer addresses seminal challenges in technology and in society generally. The project has employed world-famous computer scientists. Who could fail to be interested in that? But soon, the crypto editor was looking irritated and, in fact, plainly angry. Dominic said he paused. He shrugged his shoulders and said verbatim, "So what's new? Isn't that what Solana and Ethereum are? Decentralized clouds?" He said, I wasn't going to be able to disabuse the journalist of his strongly held beliefs and persuade him to believe that these networks are designed to store and process tokens and DeFi and cannot provide cloud functionality where online apps and services can be hosted. The interview was over in 20 minutes. I want you guys to think about this. And by the way, yours truly right here on the Cryptoviser channel, guys, I was very critical of ICP for a very long time, especially after the launch, because in the launch, the likes of Coinbase launched Internet Computer on their platform when ICP launched. And then what do we see? Like typically we saw Coinbase, the Coinbase effect, as it used to be called, where a coin gets listed on Coinbase and it goes up in value. Well, what happened to the Internet Computer? It went down in value. 99% drop in the price. And a lot of this we found out later was due to FTX and Alameda price manipulation. But at the time, I was looking at them like, nah, this is a complete rug pull, not even worth my time. They're talking about becoming the world computer and all this stuff. Prove it. Prove it. Well, a few years ago, they did prove it. And we started talking about more and more about Internet Computer in 2023. We called the bottom of Internet Computer in 2023 at $2.93. Go look at my videos from back then. We called it to the day. Well, maybe not the day, the month. But then what did we see happen in 2024? We saw the first demo of AI on chain. And this was very, very primitive, very, very new technology. But they were the only blockchain that was doing this. And the more that I learned, the more that I explored on the Internet Computer's dashboard, the more that I realized, they have been working against everybody in crypto that believed that they were just another grift, another scam coin, another Ponzi, another just rug pull. And that's not what Internet Computer turned out to be. That's not what Dfinity was spending money to develop, and their developers were continuing to work on while they were getting all of this negativity, not just from me, but pretty much the whole crypto space. And Dominic is telling you this. He had an interview and they didn't want to hear what he had to say. They cut the interview in 20 minutes. And look at where they are today. The fastest blockchain in the world, faster than Solana, not theoretical, actual. You can look on the dashboard, look at the data, look at other data aggregators compared to Solana. It's now faster by almost a factor of 2 to Solana. And nobody's talking about it. Everyone's like, yeah, it's still it's an Internet Computer. It's not really anything. They're missing the point. No other blockchain does everything literally on chain. They all have these intermediaries. They all connect to Amazon Web Service, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, which are single points of failure. Internet Computer is doing everything in-house. This is revolutionary because we're already seeing other projects, other technologies tapping in to utilize the Internet Computer for their back-end integration of this capability because their chain can't do it. Maybe the centralized infrastructure like Google Cloud or Amazon Web Service, maybe they're too expensive compared to Internet Computer. And we are just at the beginning. Going back to what Dominic said here, he said the editor thought he was saying what he was saying was completely preposterous and obvious lies, and that he was a charlatan, taking him for a fool. This is bizarre alternative that Dfinity has been living for 4 years since launching the Internet Computer after 5 to 6 years of hard research and development at scale, with another 4 following since. And this is where he talks about the credibility. He said at launch, the credibility of the network suffered from extraordinary attacks by shading people in the industry to deflect from the capabilities and protect the status quo in ways anyone can read about on crypto leaks. But what is really bizarre is that despite the scale and the power of those 2021 attacks, in the end, the unique capabilities of Internet Computer have become masked with the industry, not by those reputational attacks and historical market manipulation, but by the widespread baseless misunderstanding that other blockchains provide the exact same or better decentralized cloud functionalities, an idea completely detached from the reality. While the Internet Computer can host a social network, these other blockchains can't even store one phone photo in practice. They are token processing networks. Now, by the way, Dominic probably watches my videos because we've been talking about this for a while. And what he's saying is exactly how I felt. Like, I really thought Internet Computer was just a fake project. And they have proved themselves to not be that. And we on this channel have caught up with where we are, with what is, not what if. Most of crypto, they're still, but Cryptoviser, Solana is so much better. And it's like, based on what? All they've created was meme coins. going back to what Dominic said, they're just token processing networks, right? Think about it. And by the way, I'm not putting down the rest of crypto. I'm just saying Internet Computer has a very unique product here, and people are not, they're not even aware of it, let alone believing that it is real. I mean, I've seen contrarians on X and other social media saying, yeah, Internet Computer is saying that they're going to be able to do AI. Let's see them do it. Let's see them prove it. Even I said that. They did it. And so part of being an investor is being able to change your investment thesis and strategy and understand, like, holy this is really big. This is really, really big. And one of the reasons that I love Internet Computer so much and the technology is because they didn't let all that negativity from 2021, they didn't let the extraordinary price action going from $800 to $2. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And they didn't let any of that affect them. They just kept moving along and kept going and kept developing. And here we are. And now they're the only chain that literally has AI on it. Even artificial super intelligence is a merger of 3 different cryptos together. They have no product as of today. They have no actual on-chain AI. They have no compute processing like Internet Computer. But Internet Computer literally went against the grain and went against what the market sentiment was. And they just kept developing. And that is something that you really have to take into account, right? It's like a company that is working on a product for years and nobody's buying it, nobody's investing in it. But then the market comes to pace and then people start buying it. And all those years of hard work pay off. That's literally what's happening here with Internet Computer. And a lot of people are not aware and are sleeping on this situation. Because once the AI narrative picks up in the mainstream, OpenAI goes for IPO. Guys, watch your hats as the pace of the increase it's going to be extraordinary in my view. Now, I could be wrong on this, but I don't know, based on everything that we've researched on Internet Computer, I don't think that I'm going to be. But anyway, back to what Dominic said. He said the situation derived not only from disinformation and misleading, but from the lack of direct experience people have with networks. The average man can't tell whether an app or service is running. If someone claims an app or service is running on their favorite blockchain, then who's to say it isn't? The industry has fostered this profitable mass delusion to such a point that the social proof appears overwhelming to people, and it's just accepted as fact. This, of course, he says, is what happens in the C word. We're not going to say it on here. But basically, he said, at Dfinity, we aim to do big things, and our work addresses seminal challenges in technology and to no small extent in society more broadly. The technology was and is revolutionary. He said, in practice, successful engagement in serious science and engineering pursuits is easier if you're someone who is almost religiously interested in truth, logic, and facts. Even if you're overly optimistic about timelines, you pursue inspiring things that you've worked on that can be achieved technically. You constantly try to move past imperfect understandings of things. For that reason, he said, it's very difficult for him to personally accept that the industry, accidentally or not, promulgates egregious untruths like these. He said, in his opinion, when leaders of major projects participate promoting these untruths, even if just by subtly encouraging the misunderstanding, at the least, they're guilty of a serious lie of omission. And effectively, I think that what he's saying is, like the TLDR, because this is a very long, we're not going to go through this whole tweet. We'll be here forever. But the bottom line is, Internet Computer is the only chain that is currently, again, what is, not what if, currently running Bitcoin DeFi on the Internet Computer. Other chains are saying that they're going to be the #1 Bitcoin DeFi platform, and they don't even have anything yet. Internet Computer is there. Internet Computer is the only one that can house the front-end interface that you're seeing for AI, the back-end interface that connects to the blockchain and any other data that it needs, and the computational power. It's the only chain that can do all 3. And this is revolutionary because it removes that middleman. It removes a potential single point of failure on a decentralized network that is immutable, that is, at least now, unhackable, where these centralized systems are not. And we know these centralized systems get hacked and data gets released. And think about what that could mean for businesses who put all their data on ChatGPT and ask it to analyze and give them answers. Imagine all that gets leaked and hacked and their competitors get all that info, all their data. That could be a huge problem. People are not really thinking about that. And so going back to the original thing of $562,000 per coin, when I first saw this, I was like, there's no freaking way. But there is, guys. There is. Because we have to stop thinking about market cap. I'm not the only person who says this. Even the Bitwise CEO says we need to start looking at the technology, not the market cap, right? Tesla has a valuation of where it is because of the technology. Apple, it's pretty much hype. It's not really the technology because Apple just creates new colored iPhones as their new technology. But Internet Computer has done something revolutionary, and they're the first. They're the only ones that are pursuing this, and they are way, way ahead. So even if another protocol comes in and tries to pursue it, they're years behind. And so what we're now seeing is that other blockchains like Hedera are tapping into the Internet Computer for this compute capabilities. And so giving the compute capabilities on chain and using it for other chains, what do you think that's going to do in the grand scheme of things? The other thing that you have to think about is where the coins are, right? Especially from a price perspective. 43% of the supply of all the coins in existence for Internet Computer are being staked currently. 145 million are staked for 8 years. 9 million are staked for 7 to 8 years. 5 million are staked for 6 to 7 years. So we have 200 million are staked for very, very long periods of time. And these are, I would imagine, developers and institutions that are investing on the back end for this capability and this technology. Because one of the things that Internet Computer does is you need to use the coin to use the network. You need to use the coin to process compute. And so it is the engine, it is the gas of the Internet Computer ecosystem. And so if we have other projects and other companies and other blockchains tapping in to utilize this capability of AI on the Internet Computer and their ability to compute on chain, the interfaces, back end and front end are on chain, and other blockchains are going to be using it, what do you think is going to happen with the price and the valuation of this coin? Now, we're thinking in terms of market cap, but if we just see the usage completely 10x and specific things on their metrics like the transactions per second continue to increase substantially. I mean, Dominic has already said he believes it's going to 10x in the next few months. I don't know that market cap is going to matter. Now, whether we're going to get to hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably not in our lifetimes, unless they just keep printing more money and devaluing the currency at a much more rapid pace, it could happen. Now, they talk about whale concentration. 80% of ICP's 540 million tokens are held by 1,000 wallets, raising concerns about centralization. Now, this is true, but we also know that some are still owned by probably insiders and Dfinity. But I also look at the fact that a lot of these wallets did not sell at the beginning when we were at $500. So why would they sell now? Anyway, that's just my feeling on it. And the tokenomics currently adds 7 to 8% of the supply annually, so there is dilution occurring. However, mass adoption could turn ICP deflationary. If 1 billion users each burn 0.1 ICP annually through daily interactions, that's 100 million ICP burned yearly, outpacing inflation. By 2030, the total supply might stabilize at 600 million tokens as burns balance the issuance. Now, you may say, well, Cryptoviser, this is a long ways away, and are people actually going to be using the ICP coin? Well, the idea behind these technologies is that you're going to be using them without even realizing you're using them. They're going to be back-end integrated. So if the technology of ICP is back-end integrated into a chatbot or into an AI capability for a company or for the customers of a company or whatever, and they're interacting with it, and the company behind it is paying for this gas. Like, you're technically using the internet computer, you're using and burning internet computer coins to process whatever you're computing, and it's being done through the company. And so you're interacting and using it and being a part of this inflation or deflationary mechanism without even realizing it. And so again, Caffeine AI, they're saying projects like Caffeine AI have struggled with off-chain inference, undermining ICP's promise of end-to-end decentralization. However, the roadmap includes GPU-enabled subnets, enabling on-chain AI inference and scalable computation. If ICP delivers, every service can run on-chain, boosting utility and demand for ICP in the ecosystem. So this is the path to the valuation model of $562,000 per coin by 2030. So here are some of the things that they think that will get us there. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Now, I don't know necessarily we're going to hit this kind of $562,000 price. I mean, this is quite the moonshot, right? This is like thousands and thousands of percentage increase in just, about 5 years if they're guesstimating 2030. But I don't think that it matters, guys, right? Like the way that I look at these ecosystems is the coin going to go up in value or going to go down in value? Now, if I think it's going to go up in value, what is going to make it go up? Like, what is going to make Solana go up in valuation? Well, real products, real technology, real users, and that's not what we have. You can see that on the on-chain data, because from January of 2025 until February 2022, revenue on the chain dropped 97% because the meme coin fiasco was over. They extracted hundreds of millions of dollars of value out of the chain and left and exited and left everybody else holding the bag. And the price came down 50% from its all-time record high. And people were like, but Cryptoviser, there's so much to be bullish about, and it's Solana. It's like, based on what? Just because they have meme coins, you could do meme coins on any blockchain. So what is the differentiator, right? And that's what people are going to be looking for. This is what companies are going to be looking for. And we know there's a lot of eyes on internet computer right now. We know OpenAI Sam Altman is aware of internet computer. We know that other companies and other projects like Hedera are utilizing and going to be tapping into these capabilities. And then you have Dominic, who has been working effectively tirelessly for years to bring this technology to fruition, along with all the developers at Dfinity and the ecosystem at large. It is truly unbelievable to see what they've accomplished. It's even more unbelievable to see that people haven't realized the true weight of all of this. Because yes, there's a million AI different projects that are coming up, but there's only one that's doing it in a decentralized cloud that can do more than just that. And I think that this is really big, and companies are looking at it. In large billion-dollar investors and investment groups are looking at this. And I don't know, we'll see copycats coming along for sure. But I think that more companies and projects will probably tap into these capabilities to enhance it and grow it and use it versus coming up with competitors. Because to create what Internet Computer created, it's going to take multiple years, hundreds of millions of dollars, and they still may not get there. So why reinvent the wheel when you can help create the wheel? And this is the difference in crypto that we see over and over. Solana recreated Ethereum. Sui recreated Solana. I can keep going on and on. All these chains that are popping up, they just do, they're just trying to outpace the last cycle's big one, right? That's why we see Sui in the top 20, and the billionaires who were promoting Solana last cycle, now they're promoting Sui. And then next cycle, we'll see something else and something else after that. But it really comes down to the fundamentals. Are companies going to be buying Sui because a billionaire who has 70% of his portfolio in it? No. Are the investors and billionaires going to buy into Internet Computer because of the technology and the capabilities and the AI integration that they already have? I think the answer is yes. But here we are in the midst of the Bitcoin halving cycle, the fastest blockchain on the planet by far, the only one that can compute on-chain AI. And meanwhile, Nobody's talking about internet computer, which tells me we are ahead of the market. And that's where you want to be, because the market always prices these things in. And I don't think that the market has priced internet computer in. But slowly but surely, people are going to realize the power of this blockchain, and we are going to see a lot more attention. It doesn't necessarily mean buying or retail hyping it up. We don't necessarily want that. We want a steady growth over the course of time that is going to just, keep chugging along, and hopefully internet computer will enter the top 10 in a very short period of time. And yes, internet computer has taken on the Apples of the world, the Googles of the world, the Amazons of the world. And they're doing it in a new way. And I don't think that there's a valuation on this technology just yet, or the capabilities of the internet computer just yet. But there will be, and I think it's going to be much higher than where we are today. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Remember, nothing I say is financial advice. These are just my opinions, thesis, analysis on the markets. And great job to everybody who is in the internet computer ecosystem, everybody who has worked on with Dfinity or internet computer at large. The Caffeine AI team, amazing stuff, and really looking forward to seeing more implementations and more integrations, and hopefully some pitch decks to some corporations who will potentially start utilizing this capability and technology, even at least in a testing phase. I would imagine like early adopters of it would probably get a lot of help from Dfinity to implement and test and make sure everything works well, because this could be huge for the entire ecosystem. We'll see you guys in the next video. Invest responsibly and crypto on.